What's up, guys? It's Michael, back with another video on the Yamaha Warrior. Today we are going to go over on how to adjust your valves. So, we'll get right into it. I'm a little ahead already, but I'll show you guys what to do. So you can see I don't have any plastics or anything on my bike right now, so you're going to want to remove those. And get those off. Pull your stator cover off. There's 4 Allen bolts to hold it in. They're 5mm. You can either use the one that are on the sockets or the regular ones, the Allen keys. Sorry, I got a little bit of a cold. You're gonna want to remove that. You're gonna expose this crank bolt here. That's a 17mm. You're gonna be using that to turn it. You're gonna need a flathead to remove your plug right here in the side of the stator cover. And then if your engine is timed correctly, you're gonna turn your flywheel with a wrench until you see the T with a line, and it's gonna line up perfectly with the line that's cut in the threads. So that's lined up. Then, just to be safe, you are gonna pull your cam cover off. Try to do this with one hand without dropping it. So, pull your cam cover off. Your cam will be exposed. And then, I think I turned it. So, I accidentally turned this. So we're gonna wanna turn it until we see that so the T, and then you have a line in your cam that's gonna line up with this here. You can see that's lined up. So that should have the piston at top dead center. That's where you want it when you're timing it, or adjusting the valves. Now you want to pull this cover off to make sure, because when I had it on the T the first time, the cam gear mark was right down here at the bottom. So I think that was it wasn't at top dead center then, I do believe. With the line being up here, that puts the engine at top dead center. So that's what you want. You'll feel it get tight right when it's about to hit that compression stroke. So we got that. Sorry, I got it a mess down here. So this is your intake side. The side right beside the carburetor. Intake side has 2 bolts. Exhaust side has 3, as you can see. So we'll do the intake side first. These are all 5mm Allen keys. So you're gonna want to pull those off. I have to move some stuff out of the way so you can get to it. But it's fairly easy. So there you have your intake valve, or valve side. You get your spring and retainer here. So I do believe this is a 10 mil. We'll grab a wrench and find out. So here we got a 10. So it is a 10 mil. So what you're gonna do is you are going to break that loose, spin it back a little, and then let me grab the chair so we can sit down and see this. Okay. So we have our feeler gauges here. This is just a cheap set from AutoZone. So the intake side is .06 or 0.006 millimeter to .01, and my set unfortunately only has .08 and .10, so that's just what we're gonna have to do for now. So we'll set it at .08 and just go with that. If it needs to be tighter, I'll have to go pick up another set. So you want it to be able to slide in through there with little drag. You don't want it to be like stuck in there where you have to yank it out. So what we're gonna do is, if you can use your hand to tighten that center pin down. The more you back off the nut, the better it'll be, because they'll both spin. So we got a little bit of drag in there, but I wanted to get it a little bit tighter. Let me grab a set of needle nose. That might be easier to turn it. So like I said, you don't want it. Okay, now that's too tight because you can't even pull it out. So what we're gonna do is back it off just a touch. So we have a little drag. Not much, just a little. And then we're gonna tighten down the jam nut. I like to leave the feeler gauge in there. That way it doesn't tighten down anymore. And then, I don't know if there's a torque spec on this, but I just tighten them down fairly tight because you don't want that coming loose. And then make sure you can still slide your feeler gauge in and out of there. So that side's good. And that's it. Like I said, mine only goes down to .08. We'll run it like this. If they need readjusted, I'll go pick up a different set of valve spring, or the feeler gauges. So now all we're gonna do is throw this cover on here. And do the exhaust side. Now if you got your engine out of the bike, it's going to be a little easier. It's not hard to do it with it in the bike. And make sure your stuff's clean before you're doing this. You don't want to do it with everything caked in mud, because you don't want any dirt falling down in the valve covers. So I don't suggest you guys do this with an impact run them down, but I've used this thing so much I can tell how tight they need to be by hand with the impact. So use a ratchet or a torque wrench. I think they're supposed to be torqued down to like 7 foot-pounds, but who cares? So the intake side's done. Now the exhaust side, we're probably gonna have to use a ratchet to get in there to get these off. So let me grab a ratchet here. Bear with me, I'm trying to use one hand. I never knew it was so hard to film and work with one hand. Okay, so you're just gonna come in here and break these suckers loose. And always check these two to make sure they're tight every once in a while, because with the engine vibrating and there's not much pressure holding them in, they can fall out. I've had it happen a couple times. That's why these are all replaced on this side with new ones. And you don't want to over tighten them either, because this head's aluminum and it'll strip out real easy. So probably pull your spark plug wire just to make it a little easier on you. Those are still pretty tight. And like I said, these are all, I think, pretty much all the Allen bolts on the engine, except for maybe a couple, are the 5 mils. So it's really nice that they did that. Did it like that. Okay, so I got oil coming out of up here, so I mean, that's good. You want oil in your top end, but you want to make sure you have a rag or something, and I don't offhand, so let me grab a paper towel. Oh, it's rolling away from me. Okay. And that's another thing you want to check when you get a fresh rebuild, is make sure you're getting oil to the top end, because if your oil pump's bad, you don't want to kill your top end, because it will die if you're not getting oil. Shoot. And it's always important to drop your tools when you're working. Now that I got oil over everything, I can't grip anything. Try it out. There we go. It's crazy how hard it is to grab something once it's covered in oil. So you can see there's oil in there. So we're getting oil to the top end. So same thing. Gonna grab your wrench. 10 mil. Break that sucker loose. Now that side's really loose for some odd reason. Make sure we're still in line. That's in line, it just looks like it's not on camera for some reason. So we're still good there. And the exhaust side is, what is it, 15 to 20 mil, or 0.0, or, yeah, so we'll do 18, split it in the middle. Since I did 8 or 0.08 on that side, we'll do 18 over here. There's no rhyme or reason I'm doing that, just doing it just to do it. So you want to hold that center piece so it doesn't come all the way out, and then twist your nut, back it off. You have to back it off all the way, just enough to be able to spin that top without it so you're going to want to turn that in. Get your feeler gauge in there. Might need another set of hands to help you. Maybe. Okay. I think we got it. There we go. Maybe. Okay, let's just twist it in there first. Get it somewhat close to what it needs to be. Where'd the needle nose run off to? There they are. So, like I said, the exhaust side is a little bit harder to get into. If your engine is out of the bike, that would definitely help. Let me try to set the camera down here to where you guys can still see. Okay. So you guys can somewhat see that. That way I can use 2 hands. I don't have a camera crew. So we're gonna put that 18 in there. And this is just like a baseline. Now if you have a hot cam or a webcam, you're gonna have different settings or specifications for that cam, obviously, because it's different. So you want to be able to slide that in with just a little bit of drag. You don't want a lot of drag, just a touch. Still a little bit too loose. That feels about right, just like that. Now what you can do is take the next one up, So let's see. Next one up would be a 19. You can slide that in. If that goes in, then okay, the 19 won't go in, so we're perfect. We got it at 18. You're gonna want to hold that head just so it doesn't spin. And I'm already messing up, so you wanna, if I can get it out, you wanna put that feeler gauge back in there. That way it doesn't tighten anymore. And it'll stay the same. Cause that little screw will move on you sometimes. And you don't want that, so put that in there. And then very carefully hold that top. Hold that top and then get your wrench on there and tighten it down. After you get it tight, it ain't gonna go nowhere. And then take your feeler gauge, slide it in there. Like I said, a little bit of drag, not much. And then that's that. And then what you're gonna do is take and put your cover back on. After you get your screws in, take your ratchet, tighten them down. Like I said, I think it's 7 foot-pounds for the torque specs on it. Check your manual just to be sure, but I do believe I'm 90% sure it's 7 foot-pounds. But I've taken this thing apart and put it together so many times I can just feel by hand where it needs to be. So that's good. And then after you get these tightened up, you'll be ready for a startup. So on your first startup, if it's a new engine, I'd let it fire up for a couple minutes just to make sure everything sounds okay. You obviously don't want any knocking or anything like that. And then shut it off, and you have this plug here. Pull that plug out, fire it up again, see if you get some oil coming out of that. That'll let you know if you're getting oil to your head. Now oil spilled out of here, so that tells me I was getting oil up to the head, so I'm not worried about that. But if it was your first time starting it up, you're going to want to make sure you're getting oil to the top end, or your whole rebuild's going to be worthless in about an hour after running. I did not replace the oil pump in this. It looked good when I had it out, so I wasn't too worried about it. And it literally ran, its first startup, it ran for 30 seconds, and then it sat completely overnight, and oil spilled out of that valve cover, so we're good there. But the valves weren't in spec or adjusted right, because I had some valve chatter, so that's why we went ahead and adjusted the valves. I thought I did it right the first time, but I didn't. They must have not been as tight as I needed them, so we're good there. And I think that's going to be it for this video. If you guys want to see anything else on how to do anything else, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.